Embracing the football scene on the Rock of Gibraltar with Adam Roberts and Steve Brown.
Well, good evening, yeah. Welcome to another week of the Gibraltar Footie Show. Week 9, I believe. And hopefully in the studio in Gibraltar is my good friend, as always, companion for the last 9 weeks, and that is Adam Roberts. Good evening, Adam.
Good evening, Stephen. How are you feeling today?
You could talk a bit louder if you want, mate.
Yeah, I know. We're sick of the internet. The internet here is not too good, so I'm literally, this whole thing is on borrowed time. Is it?
Well, it's green at the moment, so let's run through it and see what's been catching our eye this week. There's a lot of things to get through. We were chatting last week about youth football. I had a few comments in during the course of the week about some of the things we were talking about, so I want to look a bit closely at youth football and about coaching on the Rock, or maybe lack of coaching on the Rock. I also want to chat, if we can, about the departure at Phoenix. Brand new manager, I believe, there this in the last few days. Adam, is that right?
Yeah, it was. I think it'll come a bit of a surprise. I think Phoenix had a good squad. Probably a major part of their downfall in the first half of the season was injuries. So yeah. Really, it is a bit. It's a bit you could probably say it's a bit unfair that the managers had to be axed. But
so what do you think it is? Do you think it's do you think it's a knee-jerk reaction from the board of directors?
Yeah, of course. I'm sure that there's a lot of money in that club, and the kind of expectations have not been met. So obviously, as you know, in football, the first person to get axed is the manager. Yeah,
but we were expecting changes during this winter period, and you know we've got the first one with Phoenix, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot more changes during the next couple of months before the sides hit the ground running. Is it back in February when they kick off again?
Yeah, if all goes well, then football on the Rock is back on the first week of February.
Yeah, so I'm sure there's going to be more changes. Also want to chat as well. We've got an interview later on with a chap who you bumped into, a very intelligent chap and an interesting guy. I'm going to let you pronounce his name.
Yeah, he's Emilio Sansolini. Used to play for Boca, for Lions, for Britannia.
Yeah,
and also on the side, he's a football graphic designer.
Brilliant, yeah, because I've seen some of his graphics and very good work indeed. And you were saying that, does he do work for FIFA or UEFA and Champions League stuff?
Yeah, obviously when people will kind of know more about it in the interview, don't want to give too much away. But yeah, he's done some recent work for FIFA, the EA Sports game. He's just done his home. He was telling me after the interview that his home team, or his obviously like ours is United, his in Argentina is Independiente.
Yeah.
And the club emailed him the other day asking for graphics. So that's incredible, really.
Brilliant. So there's another job, and it looks like he's going from strength to strength now in his chosen career.
No, yeah. If you look at his work on Instagram or on social media, you can see the level that this guy works on, and it's unbelievable when you're seeing stuff like Kyle Walker, David Luiz, all these guys sharing his work. Yeah, it's an incredible feeling.
Fantastic. So we've got that interview later on. I also want to just I'll pick up on it now, actually, if we can. You know, we all know that you're connected to Gib United as their media officer, but there's been some changes there during the week, I believe, with the owners of the Heritage Sports Holdings Group have taken over Los Barrios. What's that all about?
Yeah, basically the people who took over Gib United, there was Pablo Dana, Michel Sagado, and a third guy that works closely with Pablo, I believe. Basically, they put money into Gib United. They liked how things were going. And with the money that they were given, they rented out a pitch in Los Barrios.
Right.
Obviously, both boards started getting close, having talks, and then maybe about a week, 2 weeks, I was told that they were all the people from Los Barrios and Paul Cordell from Gib United were flying over to Dubai to set up a contract.
Right. Where do you think this is going then, Adam? Do you think this is going into some kind of sister club or some kind of feeder club?
I
Do you think the two will work?
told.
Do you think the two will work together at some stage?
Looking at the facilities Los Barrios have, obviously they're in Spain. Spain's bigger than Gibraltar, so the access, they have their own stadium, which obviously it would be a dream for every team in Gibraltar to have their own stadium.
Yeah, of
So
course.
obviously Los Barrios, like Gibraltar United, have got a youth structure. They've got
yeah.
facilities for everyone. They've got a bar. They've got futsal pitch. So Gibraltar United are obviously going to use up what Los Barrios can offer them, and then at the same time, it will be interesting to see what happens at the senior level. That's something that I'm looking forward, and I'll be keeping an eye out over the next few months or so.
Yeah, it's certainly interesting. And I'm sure if there's players good enough playing in Gib, they could make their way over to Los Barrios. Or maybe you could either, I know that what they do in the UK, they have dual registration. You probably have it already with some of the teams on the Rock, but there's nothing to say that you can't play in two leagues unless UEFA or FIFA have regulations regarding that.
Probably, I think it'll be more of the Spanish FA than anything else. We know that the Spanish Federation kind of don't see Gibraltar as anything, so
Yeah.
it is a bit difficult to get something like that planned. But I was speaking about it with someone this morning, and I was saying that Los Barrios are in a league that's competitive. You know that players waking up knowing, okay, this week we're going home to Algeciras.
Yeah.
Next weekend we're away to I don't know what team in Spain. You know that's what people don't have. That's stuff like that players don't have in Gibraltar, and that's like something that almost makes
It's exciting.
football, you know? Yeah, exactly. Like you look at the Premier League and United are home to you support Burnley, and then and next week away to Liverpool. In Gibraltar, you're home to everyone all the time. So
every day is like Groundhog Day.
Yeah, the only thing is that in Gib there's a lot more money.
Yeah, and well, talking of money, or moving on to what we were chatting about last week. You know, we were talking about youth football. We've had a few comments during the week. I've had a few, you've had a few, and some good, some not so bad. Saying that our knowledge or lack of knowledge coming across was there for all to see. But what we were trying to get across, Adam, and I want people to, is this show is about promoting football on the Rock, and at no point in proceedings were we having a go at the lack of talent on the Rock. We know the talent's there. Maybe we said it in a slightly different way that came across wrong. We know the talent's there, but I want to talk about the coaching, because coaching is something we've always spoke about. We spoke about grassroots football, and I know we're only 4-5 years in now, but really the grassroots football, the coaching, has got to be better by now. It should have been better from the onset, don't you think?
We know that coaching needs to get better. We know, like we said last week, the level of coaching isn't good. We have good coaches, just like we have good youth players, but it's a level where we cannot continue to develop these players. If these players, like for instance TJ Debar, who for me is probably one of the best youngsters we have in Gibraltar right now, he's almost at a level where he needs to improve, but can he get to good levels? Like, can he get to a League One or a Championship playing in Gibraltar? And if anything, I think he needs to try and get some trials in UK, and that will build him up to be a better player than he'll ever be in Gibraltar.
Certainly. You know, we know that there is talented players there, and I was doing a bit of research, because I thought, I'm going to come on and do this show this week. I haven't got the knowledge that some people have got. This is a programme of opinions. So I went away, got some information regarding on the player pathway. Now, the player pathway, I was speaking to Lewis Fraser, who is a qualified UEFA coach, so he knows what he's talking about. So I've been speaking to Lewis, and I was talking about the footballing pyramid. The player pyramid starts off with school team competitive level at the bottom, local football clubs, professional football club soccer schools, then moves on to professional football club development centres, academies, under-18s, under-21s, through to first team. And Lewis came back. I put the word out there on Twitter. You might have seen it. And Lewis has come back and he said, Steve, we've only got the bottom two. So there is your problem straight away, because we do not have the networking or the structure in place to be able to push these players beyond local football club level at the moment. And that's shocking.
Yeah, it's difficult.
So I don't know what your thoughts on this. I know you can't wave a magic wand and things happen straight away, but as soon as we got into UEFA and money was available to the GFA, because we keep on going back to them, because they are the governing body, guys should have been sent off straight away to get these coaching badges. Sent out to clubs in Spain, maybe teaming up with other clubs in the UK to get or go to. I know we've sent people to Wales, to the Welsh FA, and that's fantastic. But there's not enough coming back. There's not enough there. I was speaking to Lewis, and he was open with me. I was having a good conversation with him, and he was on about the possibilities of setting a soccer school up on the Rock, and he said, Steve, I'd love to, but we haven't got the coaches qualified enough to do it. And that's a bit of a shame.
Yeah, I think that's what's holding us back on many things in Gibraltar. There's just not enough of it, and when we do have it, there's nowhere to put it. So we're progressing. I know we are progressing, but I just don't think we're progressing enough to start changing players, like developing players even more.
Because there's another comment on Twitter. It's great that people are getting in touch with us. Colin Griffiths, I put the question out there, and he's come back as Colin. Thank you, Colin. He said, invest in better facilities and coaching, reap the rewards later on. Just look at Iceland. And he's got a point, hasn't he? He's got a point.
Yeah, when they beat England in the World Cup.
Well, yeah,
or
but
Euros. I think it was Euros, wasn't it?
But just the way that they set their stall out, the way that they're spending money on grassroots. There's as we know on the Rock, we speak about it all the time. There's money going to players, right? Players are on 2, 3, some on reports of £4,000 a month. Now that money for me is going into the wrong place. Because you're playing someone who's possibly, I've played a decent standard of football, played North West Counties and Evo Stick level football, so I can say some of the players, if not 50% of them, are on maybe £1,000, £2,000 a month. They're average. They're average players. What the money needs to filter down to grassroots. The kids, homegrown talent, that's what it's all about. And unless we have the right coaches and the money, it's the right places, these kids are not going to come through. I don't know what you think. I don't know what you think about that. You're going a bit quiet on me tonight, Adam.
Yeah, because there's so many good points, and it's so difficult to try and say how I feel about it.
What you see the football. You see mammoth more football than I do. You near enough at every single game. But you've seen ever since the onset of joining UEFA and FIFA. Where do you see it needs to go in order for Gibraltar to progress and for the next generation to be coming through? That's a $1 million question, isn't it?
Yeah. I think you gotta break it down.
Finance is a big one.
Finances, I don't think are a problem. I think we can all agree that there's enough money there to get things sorted. So financially, right. I don't think we have a problem.
What about the leadership? What about the leadership?
Leadership as in from the governing body, or?
Yeah, the governing body, because they're the ones driving the bus. At the end of the day, they've got to drive this. So you've got to have the right people in place to implement these changes, i.e. director of football, youth football director. Somebody's got to drive the bus. So what do you feel? Are we lacking leadership? Proper leadership.
Proper leadership. I think I can agree with you that. I think the people that are in power don't have what it takes to deliver in that kind of role. Where I think certain things need to be overlooked or certain things are being overlooked. Sorry, but again, it's with time. I think with things with Gibraltar, like every year, like this year, it's gonna be the pitch. What do we have planned for next year? Or, it's not with a lot of things. I think people just want results straight away. So like, okay, in January we can do this, February this, March this. It's nothing like that. Right now, I know Jeff Wood came in and he got a deal with Wales. That's something off the checklist.
Yeah.
Now we're getting the pitch sorted. That's another checklist, but there's still so much left. And I think we need to stop looking at the senior team as
the be-all and end-all.
Be-all and end-all. That's how I feel they're being looked at. It's the senior teams. It's everyone wants to go away to Faro to watch them against Belgium, or they want to go to Poland to see them against the Robert Lewandowskis, or to Germany to see the Ozils, etc., etc. While no one, it almost feels as if everything else is just being overlooked. Everything else is if we have a bit of money left, we'll give you what we have. It almost feels as if it's coming like that. But
so everything's kind of no, maybe we are wrong, but it was just an opinion. But like you say, we seem to be focusing on the now and not the future,
exactly.
and that's the problem. We talk about the ground. Everyone's spoken about the pitch and what it would do, being that 12th man. The pitch, the facility, should have been done 3 or 4 years ago. We've had blueprints in place for this stadium that was supposedly going to go at Europa Point and be the best thing since sliced bread. That didn't materialise. And now, we're 3 or 4 years down the road, and we've still got the same facilities as someone playing semi-professional football. If that.
The problem is that a lot of politics comes into it. People, we wanted it at Europa Point. People were putting petitions out saying stop the stadium in Europa Point. So that's one down. Lathri Barracks, another petition. That one's down. We're just the GFA have had to buy the stadium because of this stupid music festival. That's a major halt in many things. So GFA, when it's come to certain things, the GFA haven't had it easy either. They've had to deal with a lot of stuff, but hopefully now that they've bought the stadium, we look like we're getting 2 more good buildings, not buildings, 2 more good like sports complexes around Gibraltar. So I'm sure we will, now that we have more facilities, I'm sure we will grow a lot faster than we have done over the last 5 years.
And I suppose with the facilities, and hopefully with the facilities can be in place, and you're talking about, getting the right coaching staff and having the right infrastructure in place to be able to move forward.
Yeah, you look at it now, and I know a few coaches and a few Gibraltarian coaches, and it's not that it's too late. Well, no, I think it's too late in a way for them, because you look at them and they've got families, they've got, like I said, they've got families, they got full-time jobs, and you look at people in the Premier Division. A lot of their coaches, I don't know the Spanish coaches off by heart. I don't sit down with a coffee with them.
Yeah.
But I'm 90% sure nearly every coach in the Premier doesn't have a job. Football is their job, and there's not many experienced coaches in Gibraltar that can do that kind of thing. So, in a lot of way, we are falling back. Now, let's say Jeff Wood gets sacked, and the next coach is going to be Gibraltarian. Let's say it's going to be Gibraltarian. Who can take over from him, and someone will be like, this is our man, this is our Alex Ferguson, this is our Arsene Wenger, who's gonna be at the Gibraltar Empire for 20 years. There's no one. No. It's just we just don't have it. So I think we're just waiting for that, I don't know, 30-year-old who's gonna retire from football and all of a sudden turns into some sort of Guardiola, and then we've got our saving grace when it comes to coaching.
But we had David Wilson, who's got his coaching badges, yet something happened along the way which meant that he parted company. So there was somebody in place already.
Yeah, but then you look at how things are at Magpies, etc. But obviously nothing. I'm not saying he got sacked because of just look how he's doing now. Whatever happened with him, I'm sure the GFA knows the story. Like everyone else, the story has come out. But we just have to see what happens. I honestly don't know
or
who
if
could
someone,
take over from Jeff
or if
Wood.
or if someone, someone from the, someone in the GFA can kind of earmark someone potentially over the next couple of years. He then gets his coaching badges under the, follows in the shadows of Jeff Wood, while Jeff kind of holds his hands through the process, and then hands over the baton to him. That would be the ideal situation. Okay, well, you can have a foreign coach, but I'd much rather have a local coach who knows something about the local game, but also got the qualifications to go with it.
Yeah, but then why are there not more local coaches in the Premier League, in the Premier Division? Why is there only one? Personally, if it was for me, if you want to be the manager of the national team, you should be putting a good you should be in the Premier Division training, managing. Sorry.
Yeah.
So obviously, if you look at other managers from the national teams, they've probably never been the manager at a top level. But why? Like I say, why isn't there not more local managers in the Premier Division right now? Because there's no time. They have families, they have full-time jobs, they can't afford to be training 5-6 times a week. Why are there foreign managers in the Premier Division? Why? Because they have families, maybe not, and they have time because football is their job. You see what I'm getting at?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're getting at.
Gibraltarian managers they almost can't afford to go managing full time because they can't do anything with it. You look you look at abroad. Look at Sam Allardyce when he got sacked from England. He wasn't stressing because he's like, I know I'm gonna get another job because England is so big. How are you gonna do anything like that in Gib?
And plus a massive payout to go with it.
Oh, well, no. Let's take away the payout. But look, if you're getting sacked from one job in the Premier League, for 100% you're gonna get another job there.
Yeah.
While if you look in the Premier Division, if a local manager gets sacked from Manchester now, he's not gonna get a deal at Lincoln.
No.
He's not gonna get a deal at Europa or St. Joseph's. He's either gonna drop down to the second division, or he's just gonna go like everyone else and get a coaching role at a big team, but at youth level.
Yeah. But I see what you mean. It's a good opinion. In fact, it's fact. If you're on the rock, like you say, you've got a family, you've got a mortgage to pay, you're in a nice job, you've got a nice pension, you're not going to give that up to go and do a manager's job where you might get sacked within the matter of months, and then you're going back to almost nothing, aren't you? You can't risk that. And that's what it is. It's a risk. But how do you take away the risk element in order to allow the managers of the future or the coaches of the future, to come through the production line of the Gibraltar football?
Because the money for coaching just isn't good enough. I think.
Yeah.
If you, like you said, you're gonna get sacked from one team, and you know that the next team you're going to get is not going to be paying you enough to look after your family, your house, your mortgage, like you said. So that's why there's almost a fifth factor, just like the same as players. You look at. I'm sure the money that Lee Casillaro, Roy Cipollina, and these people are getting is more than enough to be able to leave your job and that. But it's when they move on. What is Lee and Roy going to do?
Of course,
They're in a government job now, so they're not going to leave. Maybe
well, no, as you say, they're not going to leave due to the fact is, they've got a nice pension and they've probably been doing that job for so many years now. Probably got, 20 years service maybe, tops, and there's no chance they're going to leave it. So it's going to be difficult to see where the next crop's going to come from. But at some point, someone's got to have to make a decision, even if they're going to get some kind of sub-bursary from the GFA for actually going on these courses. Some kind of incentive for people to want to, go off and do the FA coaching badges, then come back knowing that they're going to probably have a position with the GFA.
Yeah, maybe managers association, or something.
Well, yeah, or set up a school of excellence on the Rock.
Yeah.
So, you've got the coaches, you might have a pool of about 10 to 15 fully qualified FA or UEFA B licence coaches which will be which will be a dream. It's probably not going to happen, but it would be a dream. And then when these kids are coming through, you can earmark the ones who have got great potential, and then you can filter them through up the pyramid, as we were talking about earlier, and get networking with professional football clubs in Spain, in Portugal, in England, and beyond. And then there is a pathway for kids, because it all comes back to the kids, doesn't it? Because it all comes back to trying to encourage and progress these kids through the pathway of football on their own.
Yeah, of course, because they're the ones that are going to be playing for Gibraltar in the next, I don't know, next 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
I think, like we're touching on the managers, maybe there could be this, I don't know, I think you got the Players Association or something in abroad, where if you're in trouble you have this.
Yeah.
Or if you think you're getting messed about,
you've got the Professional Footballers Association.
Yeah, that. Sorry, I couldn't remember what it was called for a minute. Maybe the GFA can have something like that for managers. Look, if you get sacked from your local, you get sacked from your role from I don't know, let's say in Monscalpe. The GFA will be like, okay, look, we'll pay you X amount of money for 6 months until you can find a job either in coaching, or you decide, look, I'm gonna go back to my job as a, I don't know, admin assistant or some crap like that. But I think there's a fear factor in Gib that needs to be cut, and I think if there's funding so people are not that worried, I think we'll have more local coaches going full time, more local players going full time. But right now, there's nothing in place for a local person to be able to go, yeah, you know what, I'm going to leave my job knowing that if it all goes tits up, I can come back and walk straight into a job, so my family doesn't have to suffer.
And like you say, if you haven't got the coaches, then you haven't got the kids coming through, or they reach a level, it's almost like hitting a brick wall as far as their individual personal kind of achievements are concerned. You know, you get to a certain level and then you hit this brick wall, and then you end up playing league football for the rest of your days, don't you? And don't reach your full potential.
No, at all. We know there's many players in Gibraltar that have yet to reach their potential, or it's too late for them to reach their potential. You know, I'm sure there's certain players in the GFA right now that if they were 16, 17 years old, they'd be already on their way to teams in League 1, League 2, Championship, etc., playing football. But for them, it's too late. And for what we have now, I just think they need to kick up the backside and really need to start working hard, because they're the future and they're the ones that are gonna be taking over. I was speaking to a guy last weekend, and obviously he's much into football as I am, and he was telling me, we're watching a game, and he goes to me, so from all the local players you watch week in, week out, how the local players you see on the pitch, who is good enough right now to take Roy's role? And he goes, there's no one good enough to clean his boots. And he goes, which local player do you feel is good enough to take Lee Casiaro's role? And he's like, there's no one in Gibraltar that will give you what Lee Casiaro gives you up front.
No.
And it's not until I looked at it from a different perspective.
I agree with that.
You kind of see that he is true. And you know, we're all here at the end of games. Oh, this one has to go. He's too.
Yeah.
He's not good enough. He's too slow, etc., etc. But
there's nobody coming through.
Exactly, and I think that's where he hit the nail on the head, and that's where I've looked at things from a different perspective.
No, it's a good call, is that, mate? You know, as we say, we have a laugh week in, week out about Roy and other players, but you know, you've hit the nail on the head, as you say. There is nobody at the moment coming through who is close to taking on that leadership and taking on that baton. Probably Anthony Barden is the closest one to it in leadership.
Yeah, it is. And to Anthony Barden, I know Jason Pusey is another guy who could take his role. I believe he's good. He used to be in the youth ranks of Atletico Madrid, But again, he's at Lincoln. He's not getting game time. These things
Bloody hell. Yeah.
need to be changed because someone needs to go to him. Look, you need to start playing now. We can't look at 5 years as, yeah, look, we're gonna bring you in. We know you are gonna be the replacement. It's no,
But
we need you to be the replacement now, not in 5 years.
Are you sure? Are you not? Is there not people? Maybe I'm dreaming. Maybe I'm talking complete crap. But is there not people who would maybe have a word in his ear from the GFA or someone like Jeff and say, look, mate, you know, Roy's maybe got a season, maybe 2 seasons as the gaffer, you know, as the man in charge on the pitch. I'm earmarking you, but you need to be playing. Otherwise, I can't justify picking you. There must be someone saying that to him. And that's enough to kick you up the arse and say, you know what? Country's going to come before club. I want to be the captain of Gibraltar, so I'm going to go somewhere else where I'm going to play every single match. Don't you think that should be, you know, don't you not think that them things might be being said? No?
Yeah, I'm 100% sure those things are said. I've gone to plenty of press conferences, and the first thing Jeff Wood says that he's spoken to certain players and told them, like, look, you need to be getting game time.
Need to step up.
I want you playing, but the pool of players in Gibraltar is so small where players who don't get selected can still make their way into the squad. You know what I mean? Obviously not in all cases. In some cases where I'm sure where players have been told and they've been left out, but I just don't think if we were to leave out players who weren't playing, I don't know if we'd even be able to make a 20-man or 23-man squad.
And that's the problem that Jeff has. You know, we bang him with a stick. I've whacked him with a stick a few times, not literally, but he's got a very small pool of players to select from, hasn't he? And that's a problem. So people who are on the bench, week in, week out, who are playing at Lincoln, which you know is question, you know, are the best team on the rock, they're going to get selected, whether they've been on bench or not. And someone who's maybe pulling his finger out, playing for a lesser club, so to speak, who's played every single game, giving you 8 out of 10 every week, he's thinking, hold on a minute, why am I not getting selected for the national team? I'm playing every bloody week. And then it becomes like an issue of maybe there's not the incentive to do as well as what you should, because you think, doesn't matter what I fucking do, I'm never going to get picked for the national team. They're always going to go with the same old faces.
Yeah,
and that
favoritism.
Yeah, because they're going for names, and not someone who's playing every single week for Glassis or Phoenix or Gib United. You know,
Yeah,
I'm sure it happens.
No, I'm sure it happens too, and I think we're both right. And you're looking at the players now, and there's a few players you're looking at now and saying, okay, look, he's playing every day, he's playing every week.
Yeah.
Will he get into the squad? And I think when we get the squad list for the game against Latvia, the friendly, the first thing everyone does is look at the list and be like, okay, he's not playing. So why have they not taken him, and him?
Yeah.
And that's how things are, you know. Many people just want the national team everyone to be on a level playing field, but that's just unfortunately that's just not the case.
And that is a shame. I know we've gone off at a tangent, really. We were talking about academy football and we've gone to the national. But just flicking back to the youth, as we're talking about coaching, which is a massive part of the future of the Rock, because without the right coaching, it's not going to move forward. And I was looking at some of the structures that they could be implemented. I know in the UK they work with what they call a EPPP plan, which is Elite Player Performance Plan, and it was like set up for youth development scheme initiated by the Premier League, and then the intention was to improve the quality and the quantity of homegrown players. And I think if they could implement this kind of structure on the Rock, but on a smaller scale, of course, because they haven't got the budgets of the top Premier League clubs, then you might start to see a difference. But it's okay having this in place, but as we keep going back to, coaching's probably, at this moment in time, the coaching is more important than the players, because what comes first, the chicken or the egg? It's a chicken and egg situation, isn't it? Because if you haven't got the coaching, you can't bring the players through in the first place. And then if you've not got the network to be able to push these players beyond the fringes of playing league football on the rock and linking up with professional organisations and professional academies, then you do it this kind of this brick wall. So it'd be interesting to see what happens in the next couple of years. I'd love some, for the youth, the guys who are in charge of the youth, to maybe sit down and think where they're going to go with this, because they need to get more people off the rock, more kids off the rock, experiencing different levels of football.
Yeah, of course. You look at the players who've gone over to teams like Saval and Gadi, and you can see the difference. Like I sit in the stadium and I watch players like Anthony Hernandez, TJ. I look at the way they play football, and I look at the way
they read a game.
The way a player from Gibraltar who's played football on Gibraltar, and there's a massive difference in the way they play.
Well, they're 10 yards quicker.
Technical. Exactly. They read the game better. They know they know how to hold the ball off from the defenders. They're
positional sense. Yeah.
Exactly. You look at all the best players in Gibraltar, and 9 times out of 10 they've played football in Spain. We know Joseph Chipolina. He's one of the top 3 for me. He's played in Spain. You look at when he's played in a few teams in Spain. You look at Lee Casiaro. I didn't know he played in Spain, but he posted a photo on Instagram, and he was in, I think it was La Valona. Again, he's played in Spain. He's top 3 in Gibraltar. Anthony Hernandez, Liam Walker. He's only played in Gib 3 years of his whole footballing career.
Yeah.
So you can see why these players are so much better. Well, not cut above.
Well, I can remember. I know we were chatting about it off air last week, but I can remember back to the days of when I was in the forces on the rock. I can remember back to the days of Al Green playing at San Roque and playing in Spain. That's the kind of thing you need. You need people to be, producing the goods and applying their craft at an higher level, which then allows them to come back to the rock and pass on that experience to the players that are situated and based on the rock.
Yeah, of course. You look at Al Green. Al Green's still playing football now, and I don't know how old he is. I think he's in his mid-30s. Maybe I don't want to say anything bad just in case I get it wrong. But
I'm sure he'll be okay. I think he's
probably in his 30s. I think we can agree with that.
Mid to late 30s. He's a veteran. He's a veteran.
And he's a veteran footballer, and he's still playing Premier. He's still playing in the Premier, and I'm sure if we were to speak to him in the stadium, or if he was to come on here and talk about it,
well, the thing is, when
he'll say exactly what we say.
Yeah, but when you've played that level of football, Adam, whatever you lose in your legs, you've gained in your head. So you don't have to do all this running. Steve Bruce at United weren't the quickest player in the world, but his positional sense on a pitch. Teddy Sheringham as well. If you look at them kind of players, they didn't have to do a lot of running because they made the ball do the work, and that comes from experience.
Yeah, you look at Roy Chipolina's got like that now. I think obviously, or whatever's happened in the last few seasons, he's kind of realised that he can't go. He's not like he used to be. He can't go toe to toe with all the strikers that used to come his way back in the day in the Gib leagues. And I think he's now realised that he's always got to be maybe five paces back. Yeah. And this season you've seen he's a completely different player to the one that played last year. And again, you look at the centre back of Europa, Alberto Merino. He's 42 years old, and
Brilliant.
Again, his positioning sense on the pitch is one of the best.
Well, that's okay, because what you can do if you've got like a back four, I know we're going off a bit, but I mean, if you've got a back four and you've got one picking up, Roy can be the one just dropping off as a sweeper role, and then picking up the pieces, because he can read the game, so he knows where the flight of the ball's going. So that's how he gets round it. But he's still a fantastic footballer, and as we were saying before, at this moment in time, I know it's all opinions. People will disagree. There's nobody to touch him.
No.
and that's a worrying situation to be in, especially when probably Roy's only got 2 years at the top left. He's probably laughing at this, thinking, "You ball bastard."
He can go till 40. Probably him thinking he can go till 42.
Yeah, what are you talking about, you English, you northern monkey? Yeah, that's probably what he's thinking. But yeah, hopefully there's people coming through. But I don't know. It's an interesting topic, and it's one that, you know, we're not experts. We don't have all the knowledge. We don't, we don't say we've got all the knowledge. What we do is just based on an opinion, and actually watching the game, and I've played the game to a reasonable level over the last 25 years. That's all it's based on.
Yeah, I'd like to get Roy's opinion as well. Does he think
Definitely? Yeah.
Who does he think is good enough to take his spot, or Lee's spot, or Ryan's spot? And I'd love to. Obviously, he may not give it away, or he'd probably avoid the question. But I think he knows in his head that. Well, I think in his head he knows the answer, but he can't as a captain.
No.
And the kind of legend figure he's looked at in Gibraltar, I don't think he can actually. He probably won't come out and actually say it.
Yeah. No, of course not. It's just it's professional, isn't it? Just to keep those kind of opinions to yourself. But we're chatting to a guy the other week who's taken himself off to UK. Jack Sargent. What do you think of him as a player? Has he got the kind of credentials, or is it a work in progress?
I think looking at how things are, like I've always said, if you're going to uni, I think your progression as a footballer is maybe not halted, but you're not going to progress as quick as you play in the league. Again, yeah. I don't go to university, never did.
But the thing is, he's playing more.
Football's good.
Well, he's playing more games than anybody, and he's playing in the Northwest Counties, which is semi-professional level. So he's probably playing more football than anyone on the rock.
Yeah, but the way I look at things is, obviously I'm just, again, it's just opinions.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think back of the game. I can't remember what game it was. It was Lincoln Europa. They started Elaine Pons. He just come back from uni, and they put Elaine Pons left back. And for 45 minutes, he got ripped to shit. He looked out of place. He's my friend and all, but I've got to. Yeah. It's football. I have to be serious.
Yeah, of course.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
And for about till half time, he got ripped to shit.
And did he wake up?
He couldn't handle. He could not handle what the Europa wingers were throwing at him.
Yeah. And
then in the 60th minute, I think he got injured. It was one of those games. So you can see that even though they're going to uni and they're playing more, he's gone from uni to Gibraltar, and okay, it's Europa. I guess that's not maybe probably the best team to come back to when you've just played in uni. But again, look, he's come back and he got ripped to shreds in the 45 minutes. So personally, and I'm a strong believer that football in university is nowhere near as good as it is in Gibraltar.
Yeah.
And if we're gonna carry on bringing players, I think we need to have something in place where players can feel that they don't have to go to university because they can see a future in football in Gib, or
it's not
anywhere in the world really.
Yeah. No, fantastic points, but also the possibilities of maybe the GFA, if they know that there's someone who's representing the country going off to university, because you want people to do whatever they wish to do with their lives, but at the same time find out where they're going to go to university, and then link up with a semi-professional football club which will take that player under their wing, so that we know that they're going to be playing a good standard of football and not just the lower level of university football. That would be the ideal situation. We've got to look after these players. You've got...
Of course, and sending them to uni isn't good.
And they're going off to uni, and nobody's keeping an eye on them. They're just going to uni. Then, oh yeah, are you still playing? Yeah, I'm playing. Right, okay, you're selected. Well, hold on.
It's all over a phone call.
Hold on. Yeah, in a phone call, you've not even watched the guy play. So you don't know what level of football he's playing at. You don't know if he's, keeping himself fit. All you know, yes, he played for me before he went to university, and he's going to play for me while he's at university. But the fact of the matter, he's playing in a low standard of football, so we've got to look after these players and kind of create some pathway for them as well in their progression.
Yeah,
So
just let them know that, look, you can
yeah,
play in Gib.
and I'm keeping an eye on you. We're looking after you and we care about you. You know, not just a phone call by Jeff Waite saying, "Are you available?" "Yeah, I'm available." "Right, okay." That's like someone down the pub on a Friday night ringing up for a Saturday morning kickoff.
Yeah.
"How you doing, mate? I haven't seen you in about 5 months." "Well, what you doing?" "Well, I'm eating loads of pies." "Well, it's okay, because I'll pick you tomorrow. Get yourself on a flight. I've got a shirt for you." It's one of them, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Anyway, you managed to catch up with a chap during the week. We've got the interview coming up now. Was it a good chat with the graphic designer? I'm going to let you pronounce his name again, because I can't.
Yeah, Emilio Santolini. I met him a few years ago. We went for trials at a football team, and then midway through the trial, well, not through the actual trial, but a few weeks ahead, that's where I made my move. You know, I went full time into. I thought I was gonna put all my time into being a journalist in football in Gibraltar, while Emilio obviously did what he was gonna do, but thought that he still had a good few years left of him playing football, and we've always been in contact, speaking here and there, and the other night I thought he'd be I was looking at his Twitter, and some of the graphics he does is crazy, man.
Yeah, brilliant. So here's the interview with the man himself.
Today we welcome to the show graphic designer and Boca midfielder Emilio Santolini.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Emilio, you're currently, like I said, you're currently playing for Boca in the second division. How have you found the season so far?
It's getting well. So half of the season just finished, and we are second, third, 2 points behind the leader. So it's going well. It's going well. I think we have lots of things to improve for the next year, but I think it's going well.
You were telling me before the show that you were born in Argentina, but you've got
Italian
your
passport.
Italian
Half.
passport. So how did you kind of like get the contact to come to Gib?
Yeah, it was weird because I was born in Argentina. I was living there, and I went to university there. And after uni, I went to live to Liverpool just for an experience. And I was playing football there, futsal. I was playing futsal there. And then the company I was working for moved to Gibraltar, and they offered me to move. And I came here to Gibraltar, and at the same time I started to play football. I started to play football for Lions, because of course I love football. After 4 years, I'm still here. Now in second division, but I'm still playing football, yeah.
How have you found the level from how you were playing Prem to how things are right now?
I think the standard is improving a lot. When I came here, of course, it was a very amateur league. Now it's getting more professional. I would say like second division now. The standard is similar to the Premier like 4 years ago when I came. But yeah, it's improving lots of football in Gibraltar, so it's much better.
Were you watching them like internationally when they were on?
The national team,
yeah.
You mean? Yeah, of course. It was a big thing when Gibraltar got into the UEFA and then the FIFA. So yeah, it was a big stuff for the football in Gibraltar. And of course, I watched the first games, and of course, I think year by year they're gonna improve.
Well, apart from your football, one of the main reasons I got you onto the show was I'm a massive fan of your graphic designs.
Thank you.
Is that your job now, graphic design?
Yeah. I'm a graphic designer. Football is just it's my passion, and I play football for fun because that's what I love. But my main job is graphic designer, and now I'm a graphic designer specialized on football. So I mix my two passions, design and football. So yeah.
Obviously we follow each other on Twitter, and I saw some of the things you've been posting, which are brilliant. Two specifically were the ones where you retweeted from Kyle Walker of Man City and Chelsea defender David Luiz. When you see them posting your work, must be incredible.
It's crazy. It's the good thing about internet. You can put something working on your home, and then in 2 minutes it's in the other side of the world, and then seeing by celebrities or big football players. So it's crazy. Of course, it's a massive impact for me.
What kind of players have you worked for?
With players, I used to work for a company in the Netherlands who used to manage social network for professional players, and I did many stuff for players like Robben, Snyder, other Manchester United players, many of them. But now I'm not working for specific players. I used to do stuff for myself, for playing with inspiration on football, what I see. But I don't do now at the moment things for players.
Yeah, because I guess obviously, like you said, graphic designing is your work. I guess you have to kind of find the right balance between doing what you love and doing it so it almost feels as if you have to do it. And I guess you trying to find that balance where you can find the best of both worlds, obviously, between doing your graphic designing and playing football for Boca.
Yeah, of course. But my work is it's about football, but it's sitting on my chair all the time. So I need to move. I need something dynamic, and also I play football all my life, and I need to play football. So I need to go to training sessions. I need to go to the games. So it's something, if you started to do when you were a kid, you need to do it all your life. That's something I need. So I love to be working on my computer, but also I love to play football. I need both.
Yeah, would you have expected the way things are now? Would you have expected it when you first started off, like you were saying you did replica kits? Did you expected any of this when you got your PC and you started just messing about?
At the beginning, you always think about, you never know. That's a good thing. But that's when I started to do my graphic design stuff. To be honest, also when I was a kid, I used to do it on my notebook, like with my pencil. So it's different. And at that time, there was no internet. So after social network, all this thing, now it's easier for designers to become viral. But to be honest, I wasn't expecting to be seen by professional footballers or for big brands. I don't know, working for FIFA, for EA Sports, stuff like that. But yeah, when you start to work, you always want more and you want the best. And so, of course, now I want to keep improving.
Like you were saying about FIFA, how when you not FIFA, I mean the EA Sports version of FIFA. Like obviously, kids, all over the world, everyone loves that game. How did they just get hold of you and saying, look, Emilio, we want you to design kits for? So I think it was for Halloween, the Halloween special or something.
No, I did many for them, and it started in 2016. So I did 16, 17, and 18 for the Ultimate Team, and then special kits, special editions. But once again, I did work for fun. Just I did some concept shirts. I don't remember which project it was. I think it was the NBA to football. I think someone from EA Sports saw it, and they contacted me and say, I like what you did. Do you want to do it for us as well? Of course, why not?
No, yeah, of course.
And so I started to work with them. So it's a big stuff.
Is that just as a freelancer, or is there a contract between you and EA?
No, it's as a freelancer, because it's once per year you do, and you do all together for the whole year. For example, for this year, for 2018, FIFA 18, I did it like 6 months ago. I did all the kits together in 2 weeks, probably, and then now they launch it every year.
Do you play FIFA yourself? Then?
Yeah. Sometimes
you use your kits, or
sometimes, but you need now to play FIFA. You need lots of time. All the coins, all the stuff.
Yeah.
I don't have that time to play, but yeah.
But that must be pretty crazy when you're playing FIFA and you're playing with whatever team and you're using your own kits. Like you're just sitting back on your chair or whatever, and you're thinking,
you know what? I created every second screenshot. But it's massive stuff, of course. Now I'm getting used to it. At the beginning, 2 years ago, when I did the first one, it was crazy.
So obviously, like, I wouldn't compare us, because obviously you're on a different scale to me. But we work, everything we work on, on a social media perspective, where we need to get big on social media. So, like you said, we can get EA messaging us, or we can get people like Ian Robin or David Luiz or Kyle Walker sharing our stuff. What do teams in Gib need to do to be able to develop more on a social media perspective?
Yeah, I think all clubs now in the world are brands more than clubs, football clubs. And most of the big clubs, they think the club as a brand, and they work all the marketing around it. And I think now clubs in Gib need to think in that way, not only about the 11 players who go into the pitch. I think they need to think about all the things around the club, and marketing is a massive and it's a very important thing. And I think they need to work more on it.
Yeah, because there's a lot of money in it. You know, when you look at clubs who have got bought by teams in Spain, and you can almost separate the good sponsors by the bad ones. You know, not saying the sponsorship's bad, but when you look at certain teams and they change the way that the kits are, like you've seen this season, you change the way the kits, or you're changing the whole group of players. But then you look at other teams, and the good sponsors, you could say, are the ones that are doing youth football. They've got the seniors, and again, it's social media, because that's where people are gonna find out about this club. You know, if you're not open on social media, how are you supposed to make even more money or how are you supposed to make your money back from the X amount you've already given into the club?
Yeah, I think many clubs think that design, social media or marketing is wasting money. It's like wasting money investing on that, and I think it's the opposite. If you invest on that, the reputation of the club is going to be much better, and it's going to be better for the club.
So what ideas have you got, like, coming up in the pipeline? Can you give us any idea of what you have? Any big things coming up next, or?
No, I always have projects in mind, always working on projects. So I like to think about new ideas, and all the time I'm thinking on that. Now I worked on a new shirt collection, so I'm producing that collection, and it's coming in a few weeks, so I'm starting to sell that. World Cup is coming soon.
I guess that's a big objective for yourself.
I'm gonna put most of my work focus on the World Cup, because something also I'm expecting. So, and I think all the football world is waiting for it.
Yeah, I guess that's what obviously, as you're self-employed, you've always got to look at the bigger picture. You know, you have to you have to look at, like you said, the World Cup. You know, millions of people are going to be watching it, so that's a good chance for yourself to, like you said, make the kits and get people like David Luiz and all these guys sharing.
Yeah, you can think about the business or how to get the most of the attention, but also you can think about in the from an art point of view, because I do what I like also, and of course I love football, I love the World Cup, so I get inspiration from that, and I'm gonna do it anyway. So the good thing is, what I do, lots of people like it, so I can do both stuff. So not only think about the business, I can think about what I like to do, and I do it, and then also it works because other people likes it also.
So obviously, for the graphic designers watching this, what can you tell them so they almost feel appreciated? You know, when you look at graphic designers, they're almost like the tiny men at the bottom who don't get as much recognition as they should. I guess the way you made it different was just...
No, now I think it's growing lots of graphic designers are now focusing on one stuff and what they like, and football is massive, so many people are working on football. I got lots of messages every day saying, okay, I like what you do, look, I did this with inspiration on your work. So I think now lots of designers are doing that, are following what they like, and they're taking advantage of the social network to get bigger.
Yes, you must enjoy that, no? When you're watching, when you're seeing people sending you work and they're getting inspirations from what you did.
Yeah, it's very good, of course. On the other hand, it's all bad because you have lots of people copying your work and getting, because now there are many good designers in the world, and they get the same level as you, very very easy, of course. But the good thing is about to thinking about new ideas and trying to do something different every day. Because, of course, you can see every other designers or other players or whatever to get inspiration, but at the end you have to think about doing something different or trying to be different.
Yeah, of course. When you're trying to be different, you're seeing people. They, like you said, they're as good as you, but they need that inspiration.
Yeah.
So when they see your work and then they're almost taking your idea and using it as their own. I guess that must be a bit frustrating sometimes.
Yeah, that happens a lot. No, for me it's fine, but I think for designers that's not a good. It's very good to have someone to copy at the beginning, but at the end, the next work has to be something created by you from scratch. So I think most of designers are very creative, so at the end that's what makes the difference.
So what are you looking now, like that? Because always when you're speaking about football, it's a lot different. So what now, looking at how things are, would you want to carry on, let's say in the next 5 years, carry on as a freelance, or would you like EA to call you up one day and be like, yo, look, we want to offer you a 3-year contract?
No, to be honest, now once you get used to be a freelancer, it's very difficult to go back to the office to a full-time job, because I can work, I can choose what to do and when to do it, and I can work on different stuff because I like to be every day can be different, so that's what I like. But on the other hand, in terms of money, it's different, because when you're a freelancer, people, as we said before, people are not very used to pay for design. They don't think it's very important. Some of them, some people, yeah. But so it's not very easy. Of course, the money you can get working for a company is different. At the end, you have your salary. So I have to see, because it's not easy.
Yeah, of course. Well, Emilio, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
You're listening to the Gibraltar Footie Show with Adam Roberts and Steve Brown.
Well, another excellent interview there, Adam. And last couple of minutes of the show now. Just you must have enjoyed your time chatting with him.
Yeah, it was a really good conversation we had. Again, it was one of those where we were speaking for an hour before, and once we stopped recording, we were speaking after. I think he's got a lot to say, and it was good. And I was almost looking at football from a different perspective. You know, when we've been doing the show, we've been speaking to players we've been speaking to football players, or we've been speaking to coaches, been on the field, etc., etc. I know Emilio's a footballer, but the main reason I did this interview was because I wanted to get his perspective from a graphic designer. Yeah. Where he knows what he's got to do. He's designing loads of things, and I think football now is, like he was saying, football is a brand where if you're gonna get bought, if you're gonna get, like what's happened with Los Baños, if you're on Gibraltar, if you're gonna get bought, you need to have a brand where people can look at your team and be like, you know what, this is the team for me, or this is the team that I want to take forward, and you could probably say it was quite refreshing to look at football in someone else's shoes.
Very quickly, I suppose with any brand, you know, first impressions count. So if you have a sloppy logo or a blurred image, straight away that says to a potential sponsor or backer of your club that you're not being serious. You're a bit sloppy, because it's subliminal, isn't it? It's subconscious working with branding. You know, some of the big names in the world have, you know, make trillions of pounds just based on branding. And I suppose, you know, he'll think about all these things before making a design or creating something special.
Yeah, he was telling me also that he was the like what we've been speaking about, the level of not just like coaching, football, youth, etc. But you're saying the level of social media in Gibraltar again is a joke. You know, he was telling me that someone surely has an hour of their day to post something, and I think that's where a big thing of the brand comes into it as well. You know, that when you're looking at you're looking at sponsors who do a club, and then this club has done nothing for months,
But
and then all of a sudden, bam, they're in face 24/7, posting tweets,
do you
and
not
that
put,
gives it away.
yeah? Do you not put that down to the fact that a lot of these clubs are picking up their sponsorship deals very easily, and that they're not having to actually work at it? You know, they just get in a sponsor, they get a sponsor. They don't really need to do much for the money. Where if you were a social media, you know, if you were a club in UK, and you're having to kind of go out and get potential clients, you've got to work for that brass. You know, you've got to create good, stimulating content, audio, visual, and do it to a professional level. Is it a fact that maybe it's, you know, easy come, easy go on The Rock? What do you reckon?
It's just contacts. It's who you know, and because I'm sure if sponsors were getting clubs or putting money into clubs based on their social media,
They won't do it.
I don't think. Imagine how many teams do you think, from what we know, how many teams you'd say, if 5 teams maybe you would say would get sponsorship based on on what they do on a social media. The rest is a joke. It's all, look, they bring in board members that obviously that we don't know about, famous players from Spain or big people within the football community of Spain who have contracts, and there you go. You've talked yourself into sponsorship instead of the sponsors actually looking at you on a social media platform.
Yeah, interesting. Well, it's been a busy night. We've gone on a lot longer than we thought. We spoke about youth football. We kind of deviated to the senior game, went into coaching, went back to youth football. But it's always a pleasure, Adam, and hopefully people enjoy. But if people do want to get in touch with us, more the merrier. We want people to be in. This is their show, isn't it, Adam? We want people to get involved.
Yep, it's like I've seen before. It's for football fans by football fans. I think that's how you say it. So
And all it is opinions. It's about opinions. Football is a game of opinions. And if we're talking, you know, a bit controversial with some of the comments we make, that's good. If that's kind of getting you off your seat or making you shout at your laptop or your tablet when you're listening back to the audio boom, that's good, because that means I'm doing my job properly.
yep, that's the most important thing.
Same time next week, mate.
Yep, all good.
Embracing the football scene on the Rock of Gibraltar with Adam Roberts and Steve Brown.